folks. Welcome back to Fiox Frank Reviews. I hope you're enjoying the month. I know I am. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Today's movie is a very special occasion. A very special movie indeed. How special is it? Well, if it wasn't for this particular movie being made, we wouldn't actually have a certain film franchise made the right way today. Even though they went down the shitter recently, but still, if it wasn't for this film, a certain film franchise would have never been made. Well, that being said, let's take a look at a Clive Barker story turned into a film that didn't go exactly the right way, got relatively hated when it was first released, but now is beloved by many cult film fans to this very day. Today's film is Rawhead Rex. That's right, folks, we're reviewing Rawhead Rex. Based upon the character from the Books of Blood series, and also there was a graphic novel under the same name, which was basically based off the screenwrite from this movie, and was released like years later. Rawhead Rex is actually a creature film. That's also a slasher film when you think about it. And the cover here, it's kind of interesting because this is basically a cover that's been used for many of the posters, and also it's one of those special DVD covers where you open it up and just flip it over and you get yourself a different DVD case. Though I don't know why, I think this one's a little bit more intimidating, but I'll just stick with this one for the time being because we have the creature's design right here and we can see it right there. That being said, kind of makes me think of the movie Down, also known as The Shaft, but that film was very entertaining for all the right reasons. This one is entertaining for, well, basically the exact same reasons. Like I said, this movie was heavily based off the story from Clive Barker's Books of Blood series that takes place in an Irish village, and a monster goes around killing people. Yes. So the story is basically this. A monster goes around. An ancient pagan monster is woken up from a slumber. Is woken up from a slumber and goes around killing people, eating men and also eating men and children. And there's also something he's supposed to do to the women, but like I said, there was a lot of changes made. Yes, you see, let me explain. The movie was very, very originally supposed to be very graphic. And it was, let's just put it this way. NC-17 would have not have existed back then. This movie would have gotten a hard X rating back then, and also would have been made a video nasty and would have been banned after it was released. Or not even released at all, had they gone with the original script. Had they stuck with the original script, that is. So lots of changes were made, and also Rawhead's design was actually heavily altered for the movie, too. And what was Rawhead's original design? Oh, I will get to that in a minute. Oh, I will get to that. As for the original screenplay, don't worry. I will talk about the comic book after I do the film review. All right, because seriously, it's basically almost it's almost identical. Just a lot of changes were made, and it was much more graphically detailed, for better or for worse. All right. But first of all, let's talk about Rawhead's design real quick. What is Rawhead supposed to be exactly? Well, this creature design makes him look like he's a mixture, like he's a monstrous medieval orc, and he's always in a black leather outfit. So it looks like he's the poster child of a death metal band. Actually, now that I said that out loud, why is this design actually used in a death metal band? I mean, seriously, why is this thing like the mascot for a death metal band? Think about it. The Rawheads, that would be... Actually, is there even a metal band called the Rawheads? If not, there should be. I mean, hell, Godzilla's got his own death metal band. Gojira, baby. But anyway, they actually went with this particular design, and I'm gonna be honest, Hive Market did not like this design at all. Well, here's the thing. Rawhead's original design, here it is. It was a tall, lanky, skinny monster that was around maybe 9 feet tall, like 9 to 10 feet tall, and basically basically, you ever seen? Okay, you remember Pumpkinhead? Yeah, like the body design was supposed to be a lot like that, except he's supposed to have a male appendage down here, and he had black lion's mane around his neck. His skin was literally charcoal gray, and his head. Oh boy, how do I best explain this? And you know what? Fuck, I'm just gonna. No, I don't give a fuck about censorship right now. I'm just gonna say it. His head was designed to look like a penis head. Yes. Yeah. Okay. You guys know what the head of a penis looks like? That's what his head was supposed to look like. Yeah. Except the bottom was supposed to open up, and it was supposed to be nothing but rows of razor sharp teeth. Yeah. So keep that in mind. We have this orc design. We have this demonic ogre design, or orc design, however you want to pronounce it. With this design, and the original design was that of a lanky dickhead monster. A dickhead monster. Just keep that in mind. You know what? Fuck, I'm just gonna say it. I'm glad they went with this design, all joking aside. I know this design's gotten ridiculed over the years, but honestly, it's what makes the movie work, in my opinion. But then again, that's just me. The movie basically follows the family, follows the Hollenbeck family, as the husband, Howard Hollenbeck, is actually doing some research for pagan religion. So he goes around with his family a little bit, and then he actually heads to a church where a session is being conducted by Reverend Declan O'Brien. And let's just say Declan O'Brien is going to be a very interesting character. Trust me. Anyway, while this is going on, we have some farmhands actually trying to remove a pagan statue out of the area for some farming equipment sooner or later, and a storm is brewing up. Okay, this is an '80s horror film, and this is a religious style horror film too, and a storm's brewing in, and this is an ancient artifact that's most likely left behind from pagan times. Good luck. Just good luck, okay? I'm sure that nothing bad will happen. Something bad happens. Eventually, the thing tips over. Two of the workers actually wind up leaving, and the one guy who's left behind actually, he stays behind and sees what happens. The freaking thing actually winds up toppling over, and we get this lovely image for the poster that Rawhead rises up. While this is happening, the service at the church that Declan is actually conducting, something weird actually winds up happening to the altar, which of course actually burns one of the patrons there. One of the patrons. And of course, Rawhead is now free, and he's now going on a killing spree. We don't get to see that at first, but he actually kills the remaining worker there. Though, like I said, this movie was a lot of stuff was rejected because it was ultimately very violent and too graphic. Stay tuned at the end of the video, you see what I'm talking about. So, anyway, eventually Howard eventually finds his way into the church, and he's looking for this for the main church, for the main pasture. I'm sorry, I have my phone out here because I actually saw this movie about a week ago, and I've been very busy all week. Pastor Reverend Coot. Okay. So yeah, he goes to visit Coot, and Declan tells him where he is. After Hallenbeck leaves, Declan decides to test out the altar, and of course he burns his hand, whatever's there at the time, and of course he's getting a lot of these images of Rawhead Rex. What's even more weird, there's actually a window vein that actually shows Rawhead actually being defeated. by some type of religious person though. But part of the stained glass window is damaged, like it's missing or something. I'll get to that a little later. So clearly something happened. Well, anyway, eventually, Coot and Hollaback actually wound up talking about the church's history, and see come back a little bit later on to do a proper interview. And it was like, okay, sure. While that's all going well and done, Hollaback heads back to the town with his wife and reunites with his family. And there's some foreshadowing here for the wife here, but that's something a little bit later. She's watching somebody in a red dress and a red hood going by, and she thought, it looks familiar. Probably nothing. All right, Riding Hood, anybody? Nope. That being said, what's good old Rawhead actually doing? He's actually terrorizing a farmhand. He basically kills a farmer, and his pregnant wife is inside. So he decides to go after the wife and tears up the kitchen pretty well. And it's about to attack the wife upstairs until he just backs away. Somebody comes by eventually to go check on check on the husband and wife. Husband's missing. The wife is like, my God, are you okay? And this was her exact reaction. Confusing? Very so, yes. There's a lot of context that's taken out of the movie here, but if you read the short story, you probably know what really happened. For those of you who don't understand, the wife was actually pregnant. So was that particularly mean? Well, it's Rawhead's kryptonite. Yeah. Pregnant women actually scare him. It's in the original short story, okay? So that's something they left in there, but they forgot to put it in the context. Also, he's actually repulsed by women who are on their periods too. It's in the short story. So Rawhead basically continues, actually drags the body around. He gets into a trailer park, and of course he does a little terrorizing in the area too by scaring some people. He takes the farmer's body, hangs it up predator style, and starts consuming the flesh. A little kid is actually nearby. He actually winds up watching it, while his brother and the brother's girlfriend are actually making out, like, well, a ways away from a little bit though. The kid, of course, is officially freaked out by what he has seen, and of course Rawhead goes after the kid, but of course the kid gets away. So the monster actually roars in anger, and of course it scares the couple. So the couple runs away until he actually attacks the couple by biting off the brother's hand. Because the girlfriend was still holding on to the hand, and of course he bites the arm off, which of course right here, she comes back, come on, tell me. So yeah. Brother's dead. Hollaback is actually going for a nice little stroll in the area, where of course he's actually on a road path. He's just walking by. He hears some commotion, and what's he see in the distance? He sees Rawhead actually in the distance holding a human head. It's the brother's head. Yeah, and of course, the trailer park people, they actually find the bodies, and they call the police. Well, we actually see Inspector Gisling actually take full charge of the investigation. Hollaback actually comes in the very next day, tells them exactly what he saw, which of course was Pumpkinhead. Of course, nobody believes because they think it's rubbish and ridiculous. Meanwhile, the little brother, on the other hand, they tried to get a statement, but he is traumatized. Oh gee, who didn't see that coming? Meanwhile, Rawhead Rex is terrorizing the countryside. Hollaback actually goes back to the church to get some answers. Maybe there's something there at the church he doesn't know anything about, though. Because you're supposed to go back there for the parish records for his book. And he starts taking some photographs of the windows until he bumps into Declan, and then he accidentally drops his camera, and Declan just smashes it. Oops, not your fingers. Yeah, at this point, Declan is now working for Rawhead. He's now fully consumed in the fact that he is working for Rawhead. Why? Well, let's just say that in the original version of the novelization and the original screenplay, it's a lot more fucked up. And let's say Rawhead brings out the worst in people. Alright, and also why Rawhead looked the way he was back then, allow me to explain. You see, in the original version, in the novelization version of Rawhead, he is basically the demonic variation of the male sex drive. Hence why he has a dickhead. And why he's naked. And in the novelization, he actually goes around eating men and children and raping women. And I'm not joking about that. That's actually all in the original novelization version. And it was actually explained also in the graphic novel version, which I will get into detail after the video. And it's a lot more. And let's just say that the original version of the film, had they made that the way it was supposed to be, it's foobar. Best way to describe it. Foobar. And I should be honest about Declan. He's a fucking pansy. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. He's a fucking pansy. He's a pussy ass pansy. That's literally all he is. Even though he's supposed to be working for Rawhead, he is a legitimately fucking pansy when it comes to down to a fight. Like, not even joking. Steve Urkel could beat the shit out of this guy if given the opportunity. That's saying a lot. Anyway, Coop basically tells him what has actually happened. That the parish records have gone missing, and he has no idea what the hell what's going on exactly. However, Hallenbeck actually noticed by going through all the photographs that he actually noticed that this monster, he had seen the monster beforehand within the mirror, within the window, but he couldn't figure out what's actually stopping the creature because part of the vein was missing. Like part of the window vein was missing. Can't even find it. So eventually, they decide to actually leave the area, though, before anything bad happens. Hallenbeck has a son and a daughter, along with his wife Elaine, and, well, the daughter has to go really badly to the bathroom So they pull off to the side, make her go off to the bathroom. She screams, they run, so both Ellen and Howard actually go over there, and it's just a dead rabbit. Oh. While that's happening, the boy is literally sitting inside of the car when Rawhead shows up. You can pretty much guess what's happening here. Anyway, Hallenbeck keeps turning back to the car. He doesn't even see that Rawhead is actually in the car at this point. So yeah, he grabs the kid, and when he sees Rawhead and lift his head up, that's when he knows something was wrong. So he goes over there, but it's too late. He eats the kid. And, okay, even though we don't actually see it, and we just see him just put his head down, we hear the crunching noise, and then we see the aftermath with the blood, and the family's devastated. In the novelization version, I'll get to that later. Yeah. So Hallenbeck actually tries to go after the creature and wants to kill the damn thing, but the creature, of course, Rawhead disappears. And, of course, Rawhead goes around, continues going around, doing a bunch of his nasty shit, a bunch of the nasty shit he's known for doing. And at that point, that's when Hallenbeck realizes something. When he's looking over the photographs, because he wanted to get his mind off of everything, he noticed something. One of the other veins actually shows what happened. That there's actually that's actually something of a statue. It's a statue. Yeah, one of the veins actually was part of another window vein, and he saw what it was. He put the two of them together, and he realized, so this person actually holds a statue high up in the air that's actually draining Rawhead's power. Huh. Fascinating. How the fuck did the veins how did the window vein get that screwed up? So, well, Ku basically said that the window veins were destroyed like years ago, and they were just repaired, and they did pretty much a shoddy job. Oh, wonderful timing there. So, what does Rawhead do later on? He goes right back to the trailer park. Actually, it starts. Okay, he goes completely nuts. Yeah, he starts going on a killing spree, beating up people, killing people, eating people. And there is this one segment he actually rips a woman's clothes off, but it looks like he was just trying to. But honestly, when you look at it, it looks like he was basically trying to drag her out, though, and her clothes got ripped in the process. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like they maybe were going to originally go with the whole, what scenario, but that was all cut from the actual film's process, so that never made it in the film. So thank God it didn't go that route. There is something I keep forgetting to mention, like when you look at Rawhead's actual head design, yeah, the freaking head design. When he's opening his mouth, and if you pause the DVD, if you pause the movie, this is the Blu-ray version, by the way, which we get to see everything in HD quality, and there's some artwork of it too. But when you pause it just right and look inside of his mouth, there's another mouth within the mouth. Now, I originally thought it was the actor who was playing Rawhead's playing Rawhead. I thought that was the actor's mouth, but nope. That whole thing was actually done on purpose. That Rawhead's mouth is actually a mouth within a mouth, and it's filled with fangs. So, okay, so they couldn't go with the dickhead design, so they made sure his mouth was literally full of fangs. Interesting way to go. Very interesting way to go. So yeah, he actually winds up going on a killing spree. Gizling and his men are actually out there, but eventually Rawhead catches up to Gizling and pulls him out of the car. His lieutenant gets killed in the process. Rawhead just gives him a look, a stare, and now Gisling's working for him. Yeah, he's now possessed by Rawhead, so now he is like doing like Rawhead's bidding. Eventually, Rawhead makes his way back to the church where Declan and Coot are in. And when Coot is actually watching this is going on, while Declan is actually in the church grounds, he's fully given in to Rawhead. He opens his shirt and he's on his knees begging to Rawhead. Opens up his shirt and Rawhead pees on him. Yeah, he literally just pees all over him. They say he's being baptized. Ugh. I was gonna say this scene is disgusting, but you want to know it's even more fucked up. In the original version, it was way worse. Like way, way worse. Like I'll get to it later. Now, eventually, Coot actually escapes, but he goes right into the church hiding, while Rawhead is actually just trashing into the inside of the church completely. And eventually, Declan catches up to him. Does actually want to catching up to Coot, and he finds the parish records, and it turns out that he is fully, and Declan is fully given in to Rawhead, and he tells him that he is God, that he was around before Christ was even around, he was around before God was even around. Okay, time out real quick. All right, Declan's a fucking moron. Number one. Okay, number two. Now you don't know anything about religion or anything. Jesus Christ is the son of the Catholic God known as Jehovah, and Jehovah. You want to know what other names he goes by? All right, want to know what other names he goes by? Abraham and Allah. Yeah, as in the Jewish God and the Muslim God. Yeah, the same fucking God. So yeah, he's been around way longer than Rawhead. So that's just one massive fuck up Declan needs to own up to. Because he's a dumb fuck. Just one dumb fuck. I swear to Christ. Literally. Eventually, Declan brings Coot up to the church, and of course, like Coot actually tries to confront Rawhead and gets his ass handed to him. Meanwhile, the police are actually surrounding the church. Rawhead comes out holding up Coot. Gizling actually shows up with the cops, and what does he do? He actually goes up to one of the squad cars and leaks the gasoline and sets it on fire, killing everybody in the process that's in the area. He gets it on fire. He throws Coot down. Rex throws Coot down. And Gisley's up to Rawhead and goes, I did this for you! For you! And he dies. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Gisley had it way worse in the comic. It had it way worse in the original screenplay and also in the graphic novel. Way worse. Not gonna go into detail yet. Anyway, Hellraiser decides to nut up and go after Rawhead to actually get rid of Rawhead once and for all. So he gets to the church, And of course, he finds Coot, who actually dies, but he tells him what he's looking for is inside the altar. So he makes his way into the church, and of course, Declan goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And and of course, he starts to fight Hollaback. But yeah, he looks like he gets the upper hand until Hollaback actually grabs a flaming book and smacks his face to it and beats the shit out of him. Honestly, if I was Hollaback, I would have probably gouged out Declan's eyes. That's probably what I would have done. I mean, seriously, this character is such a bastard. Like, you would do a lot worse to him. I would do a lot worse to him anyway. So anyway, Declan makes his way. Anyway, Hollaback makes his way to the altar. He opens it, but it's also burning his hands. But he does wind up actually getting it open, and he sees what was inside. It's actually a small little statue of a bloated person. It's been actually noted that it's actually the pregnant woman. Okay, and it would have been nice if we had context to that, but no, we didn't. So Declan runs away like a little pansy that he is. And he runs all the way up to the cemetery where Rawhead is actually waiting for him. And of course, he tells Rawhead he has actually failed. And of course, Hollaback shows up with the statue. He holds the statue trying to use its power, but it doesn't work. And Rawhead just walks up to him and smacks it out of his hand and throws Hollaback around. And throws him around. And of course, Declan kind of gets in the way of Rawhead and Hollaback. Ellen shows up when it happens, so Rawhead picks up Declan and basically bites his neck out, basically bites a huge chunk of his neck out, killing him instantly. So, though I'm just gonna say it, in the novelization, his death was better in the novelization version. How much better was it for him? He gets ripped in half. Yeah, by pure strength. Anyway, Rawhead sees Ellen, but here's the thing: Hollaback actually taunts Rawhead, and he starts to fight him off. But of course, Rawhead's too strong for him. It's way too strong physically for him. So yeah, Hollaback, I gotta give Hollaback some credit. He's an angry father going after trying to fight this beast off, who is physically much more stronger than he is. But here's the thing: Ellen actually sees the statue. She picks it up, and tons of powers start coming out of nowhere. Mystical powers start happening out of nowhere. And, yeah, an image of a woman in red shows up, actually surrounds her as a spirit, and beams of light start hitting Rawhead, draining him of his power and his strength. Hollaback realizes, a woman. It had to be a woman the whole time. That's fucking sexist. That is fucking sexist and stupid. God, it's bullshit. And this wasn't in the original screenplay either. I mean, yeah, the statue was in it though, but I'll get to that a little later. Okay. Just... Anyway. Rawhead basically loses all of his strength, and he shrivels all the way up into a stick-figure skeleton version of himself. And of course, the ground caves in, and of course he falls into a pit, and the statue falls in with him. So it basically means he's dead. Ellen and Howard actually leave the area, knowing that Rawhead's fully defeated. Some time actually went to passing, and we see the little brother from earlier actually putting flowers on his brother's grave. When he walks away, we get a panel shot of the graveyard, and then Rawhead's head pops right back out. The end. And that, my friends, was Rawhead Rex. Now, is this movie a good movie at all? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, it's entertaining, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, it is very entertaining. There are tons of problems with this film, but, yeah, it's still entertaining regardless. I mean, I still like watching this movie from time to time. It does have its flaws, but that's what makes it so charming. Its flaws actually gives it its charm. And we like it to this very day. Yes, even its cult film status actually has gotten better as time has gone on. What's even more crazy is like Clive Barker wants to actually thought about remaking this film back in 2004, but it's been 20 years and no word has come out since. Ironically enough, there's been some talks that they should make a sequel to this exact movie, but again, nothing much has happened. Now, before I get to the graphic novelization version, you want to know what film series this movie actually wound up helping and actually made successful? If it wasn't for this film, what film series didn't come out afterwards? I'll tell you what the film series was. If it wasn't for this wouldn't exist. Yeah. Think about that. Because of Rawhead, we have the Hellraiser film series. That's how. It's mostly due to the fact that Clive Barker didn't like the way that the movie was represented with Rawhead's design and everything. So, but there's some rumors going around saying that Clive actually may have opened up to the design and actually kind of likes it now. But I don't know if that's true or not. But either way, eventually, because of the fact that this film actually did follow his short story, and well, it became somewhat of a hit and a bit of a cult classic. This film series came out, and he directed the first Hellraiser film and became a massive big success. And you know what? I'm glad for that. Because of Rawhead, we have Hellraiser. Thank you, movie gods. Now comes the portion of the video I have dreaded. The graphic novelization of the short story. Based off the screenplay. Oh boy. The graphic novelization is just ridiculously foobarred. Like, all the stuff they couldn't show in the movie, it's all in the novelization. Like I said before, what Rawhead Rex actually is, he's basically the demonic variation of the male sexual drive. So that's what he basically is. And every time he's around, he brings out the dark, sensual, sexual urge for the men around him to be wanting to be killed by him or just do the most vile acts in his name. It's just really disgusting of how his just being there just brings out these dark urges in people. And also, like in the novelization, like the farming family, there was actually supposed to be a kid involved in this too. Like the mother was, like the wife wasn't exactly pregnant; she was actually on her period, so Rawhead doesn't actually wind up killing her. But what he does is actually kill the husband, the horse that the daughter likes, and there's a daughter involved, and he goes out to the daughter and he eats the daughter. And the last thing that the mother sees, like she actually tries to grab her daughter and head down the stairs, but she trips, falls, and breaks her neck. And the last image she sees before she dies is her daughter being eaten by Rawhead. And Hollenbeck's kid in the original novels, in the version, we see what really happens to him. He gets devoured and he's ripped to shreds. It is just disgusting. And afterwards, we see Rawhead just laying in the field and just doing all this after just eating the kid. And the kid's legs are just right there too. So it's like, dude, what the fuck? And the baptizing scene, it was, like I said, it was way worse. Like Declan, he actually strips naked and actually starts splashing the piss in his face. Yeah, and throughout the majority of the novelization, he basically does all these nasty deeds naked. So yeah, so from that point on, when after he's baptized, he's nude throughout the rest of the novelization, and he's just he's completely nuts. Oh, sweet Jesus. And and Glisten, like I said, he got it way worse. I mean, seriously, Rawhead actually doesn't actually want to make him serve him. No, instead he takes him out of the car and rips his dick off. Not even joking. Yeah. But by far the worst death that was actually heavily toned down in the movie was Rawhead's. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Eventually, Hollenbeck actually does find the pregnant woman statue, and it's supposed to be actually drain Rawhead's power in a way. But here's the thing: Like, Rawhead was supposed to gain a lot of his strength from the sexual urges and the dark desires from everybody around surrounding him. However, it was replaced with rage to kill him. All right, and that's what was weakened, and that's technically what weakened his strength eventually. Now he's shriveled. Now he's basically just a lanky version of himself. But when we see him in the past segments of the novelization, he's like ridiculously jacked up. He's like muscle bound and everything. But since he's been hibernating for thousands of years, for hundreds of years, yeah. So basically, not gonna lie, when I say I kind of prefer this design more than the actual original novelization version, I kind of go for that. I go for this design if anything else, because he actually looks very threatening in this one. Anyway, Rawhead's death in the graphic novel variation and the original screenplay was way worse. Like literally, all the men, all the villagers, all the men that Rawhead had terrorized and actually had whose families he had killed, plundered, children he has eaten, the woman he has raped. Yeah, they all come in, fistful of vengeance, and they all gang up on him and beat the shit out of him. Yeah, I mean, even though he's basically taller and stronger than they are, when they're all ganged up on him, like he's completely outnumbered, and they just beat the shit out of him. Like he's beaten, and the last thing that Rawhead sees is Hollenbeck over his head, holding the statue, and then boom! His head is smashed in from the statue. Yeah, like I said, his death was way worse in the original screenplay. So yeah, they did not fuck around. Now you can see the graphic novelization either here on YouTube or actually trying to buy the original novelization or get the original books. Ironically enough, Clive Barker has actually used Rawhead Rex not just in graphic novelization format, but he's also had them against like the Nightbreed creatures as well. And there's a lot of talks on the internet for them to actually get Rawhead Rex to fight Pumpkinhead. I mean, think about that. The battle of the heads, who would win? My mind's a Pumpkinhead. Yeah, you can't beat the Demon of Vengeance. Yeah, Vengeance is way worse than the male sex driving. Trust me on that one. When you see Vengeance, it's like there's no mercy there. So anyway, that's the graphic novelization. The movie's a cult classic. The novelization version is a bit more fucked up, but it's a classic. But it's a horror classic. Anyway, thank you very much. In case you didn't watch my my TikTok channel, Joe's back. Yep, he's going to start his A-list soon, and Rawhead Rex, he's been working on a video lately. I mean, it's kind of a long game video he's working on, so just give him some time, folks. Anyway, it's Rawhead Frank, signing out.